This video is going to be about how to make a Breaking Bad intro. I have all the files you need if you want to edit along with me. I think this is a great way to learn how to use Davinci Resolve if you're looking to do that. So first thing you're going to want to do is grab a fusion composition from your effects tab and drag that into your clip. From there, we're going to create a background. So to do this, grab the background and drag it in. Then connect that to your media out. Now, a plain background isn't the greatest, so what we're going to do is add some noise and change the color of this noise to green. This is going to add some texture to the background and make it look like how it does in the original Breaking Bad trailer. So you can adjust the scale, adjust the details, get it how you want it to look. I recommend playing with it yourself, or if you want, you can copy what I did on the screen. Change the brightness if you need to make it more subtle, and then what we're going to do is adjust the seeth. What this is going to do is animate the background and make it move. So just set a keyframe at the start, and then set one at the end as well. And once you have that, you'll see it's going to move as the timeline goes on. So all of that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is turn it all into a group. What this is going to do is pretty much put it in its own folder and just clean up our little node section here. I'm going to change the name of it to background just so we stay organized. And then once we have that, we can go ahead and go on to the next step. So the next step is going to be adding some text. You can see in the original intro, it's got a bunch of chemical elements and all that kind of stuff. So in our example here, we're going to just do editing related stuff to make it more personalized. If you're doing something for your channel, you can put whatever text you want in. What we're going to do here is just make a bunch of it. For mine, I did 10 of them. And I'm going to speed up the footage of me making it just so you guys don't get bored. Come up with words that will represent your channel, or whatever words you want. So I'm just going to copy and paste these all, keep adding texts in. And now you're going to see later on in the video, I went back and changed the color and also the position. If you want, you can do it how I did it, or you can do them all while you're doing this step. This will just save on time and you don't have to go back and forth and go through all of them. You can just do them all at once. But this is just how I edit. This is what works for me. Something else might work for you. So once you have that, we're going to go ahead and adjust the position. We want these to come from high up and shrink as time goes on. So to do this, I'm going to kind of do it backwards. I'm going to set keyframes where I want them to end, and then afterwards we're going to go ahead, go back to the start and set keyframes where we want them to begin. So I'm going to speed it up again just so you guys don't have to sit through all this, but pretty much what you're going to do is just go to the point on your timeline. For me, it's just 1 second in, or 24 frames, and then adjust all your text to how you want it to be at 1 second. Then afterwards we're going to go to the start and adjust everything to where we want it to be at the start. So for this, I'm going to make the editing really big and slightly adjust all of the other ones. Davinci will automatically set keyframes if you already have the keyframes set at the end. Now once we have all this, what we're going to do is group them together, just to organize our timeline a little better. Now what you're going to want to do is, on that merge node, we're going to start transitioning that. What this is going to do is just make it so we don't have to edit all of them individually. They'll all just shrink together as one. So pretty much what we're doing is moving them all individually at the start, and then after moving the merge node so all of them move together. So you can see once they all stop moving, they're going to continue moving because we adjusted our merge node. So next up, I forgot to do this at the start, but our fusion composition is not as long as we need it to be. So what we're gonna do is go back to the edit page, and we're just gonna extend our fusion composition to around 16 seconds. This is the length of the original Breaking Bad intro. So once you have that, you can go ahead and head back to the Fusion tab and we can resume editing. I hope you guys are finding this video helpful so far, and if you did, make sure to drop a like. I really appreciate it. Now that we fixed our composition length, what we're gonna do is have all these letters fade out. So I'm thinking around the 70 frame mark is where I want to start fading. So I'm gonna set a keyframe at 70 frames and then go to 80 frames and change the blend to 0. The blend is pretty much the opacity. So now what we can do is start making the second part of our video. So for this, we're gonna be using the Breaking Bad text that's in the description. We're gonna try and cheat this by not having to bring another element in and just making text that's gonna create a periodic table. So what you can do is type out 4 lines of 5 letters. You can do 6, however you want. I just found this works the best for the Breaking Bad intro. And then you're gonna make sure they're all capital, and then what you're gonna wanna do is change the font. We're gonna change it to Heart Breaking Bad, and you're gonna see it turns it into a periodic table. Now what we're gonna do is get rid of one of the letters so we can replace it with our own. You can adjust the size of how you want everything to look, and you can also change the opacity. I put mine to around 50% to make it see-through. Once you have that, you can go ahead and insert our Breaking Bad template, and we're gonna add a transform node to that so we can adjust the size, and we're gonna attach that to our text. So you should have a node structure that looks something like this. What you can do now is go into transform and change the scale or size of how big you want our periodic template. You can change the whole size of it, which I recommend doing, and then just change the size of everything so it matches. Now this part's a little tedious, but like all things in video editing, it's pretty tedious, but those small little details that you do really make, you can really see the impact of those details when the product is done. So as annoying as it is, you're just gonna go through, make sure everything works good. Once you have it all good, you can add some text, make it the first letter or 2 of whatever you want your title to be. In my case, we're gonna do DA for Davinci Pro, and then just add that into another merge node and add that to your original merge node. If you guys want, you can just copy what I'm doing in the Fusion page here. Just copy it node for node and it should turn out. Then you're gonna create one more merge node, and we're gonna hook it up so we can see what it looks like on our timeline. And you can, so now that we have this, we want to animate it so it comes in kind of like how the text comes in. It's gonna start big and then shrink down as time goes on. So I'm gonna adjust it to where I want it to end up. You can see in the original Breaking Bad intro, the 2 squares are kind of diagonal from each other and slightly off-centered. So we're just gonna try and recreate that here with the first one. Scale it up a bit if you need to. Now I recommend you guys play with all the settings yourself, and you can fine-tune it to how you want it to look. That's the fun with video editing. Everyone creates something unique, which I think is cool. So just go ahead and adjust it to how you want, based on how long your text is going to be afterwards and other things like that. Just make it how you want to make it. And then you're going to set a keyframe to where you want it to end up. So around the 34-second mark is where I want it to start coming into frame. So I'm going to set a keyframe, set it to where I want it to go, or I want it to start animating. And then we're going to change the opacity of it too by going into settings and changing the blend. And we're going to set a keyframe and make it 0. Then what we're going to do is go forward a couple frames and bring the opacity back up. This is going to make it fade in and look seamless. So something like that looks pretty good. Make sure you're setting keyframes where you want it to start and end, and then just adjust the values from there. After you've figured out where you want your letter to end up, you can go ahead and grab the text, and we're going to start animating this. This is going to leave our DA behind, but the text is going to continue moving. So we're going to set a keyframe on our text node in the layout section. Set a keyframe for the center, X, Y, and Z, and then adjust as you need. I did around 50 frames away. You guys might have to play with the settings of how you want it to look. Like I said before, a lot of video editing is just playing with the small settings that are going to make your video look great. So now that we have that, we can see our trajectory of the path doesn't really line up. So what you're going to want to do is just adjust it until it lines up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just so it doesn't look like it's changing directions, it still looks like it's shrinking downwards. And so something like that looks pretty good. Now just remember, I'm not saying it, but you guys need to be setting keyframes for all of this. Davinci Resolve is pretty good at auto setting keyframes once you've set your first one, but just make sure that you're setting them at the correct length and where you want it to go. Now that this is looking good, I'm going to copy it all and paste it. So once you have it copy and pasted, you can just attach it to the other merge node and then restart the process you did before. I recommend changing it slightly like I did here. Of course, change your DA to P or whatever letters you're using in your case. And then I also recommend changing where the actual letter is on the periodic table, just so it doesn't look like an exact copy and paste. And then just adjust it to how you want it and repeat the same process as the other time, setting your keyframes on your letter instead of the merge node once everything is set, if that makes sense. But once you have it all looking good, you just have to play with it a bit and it should come out something like. So I'm just going to organize my timeline a bit here, get everything looking good and into their groups. And then our next step is just going to be adding our text to make it say the title that we want and not just have the images up. So we're going to do this in the Fusion tab, the edit page, just to make things a little easier and get out of the Fusion page for a little bit. You're going to just drag some text above your Fusion composition and then make it say whatever you want minus the first one or two letters. So in our case, we're going to write Vinci and then change the font to Heart Breaking Bad. Make sure the the letters are in lowercase, not uppercase. And then just adjust it to how you want in the settings page. So if you guys want, you can change the color as well. This will just make it look a little nicer. I don't think I'm going to. Maybe I will. I think I like the white how it looks. But you guys play with it and adjust it to how you want. Then just do the same thing to the second title. So in our case, we're just gonna copy and paste it and change it to RO and drag that down slightly. And then what you're also gonna want to do once you have all of this complete, is just add a fade in. And I'm going to show you guys a super easy way to do this. You guys might know this already, but if you just grab your video clip here and drag it up to make it bigger, you can see this little icon appears, and if you just click and drag, you can create a fade in and fade out. So I'm gonna do it to both of these here and see how that looks. And it looks pretty good. I think I might make it a little bit longer, just something like that to make it a little more dramatic. I think that looks good. Looks more like the original. So what we're gonna do now is add our smoke in for some extra effects here. Now the clip I have is the opposite way of how I want it, so what you can do is just hit that flip symbol there in the inspection tab, and it's gonna flip the image in the other direction. Now we're gonna just grab the part that we want. The clip is also very slow, so what we can do is go ahead and speed it up just to make it look more like how it does in the original, what we're going for here. And if you guys are looking for any of these clips, they're all in the description below linked, so you guys can make this yourself as well. Just adjust it to how you want. And what I'm looking for is a part of the smoke that can cut the text off once it is finished displaying on the screen. So all you have to do to remove the background to make everything visible is change the composition to screen. And you can see it's going to play throughout the whole video. Now I don't want it to just appear like that, how it does, so I'm going to move it back. And then I'm also going to fade it in. Move it back a little more. And then you can see right there, that little bit of smoke is where we want the mask to cut it off. So just time it up how you want. You guys can copy the times I have in this video. When I'm making them, I just kind of go how I feel it's gonna be good. Usually doesn't end up pretty good, so I do recommend just copy the times I have if you want the perfect keyframe times. But you can see we're just editing the text here. Then we're gonna copy this and create another one on top of it. And what we're gonna do for this is make our mask. So to make the mask, we're gonna head to the color page. So just make sure you have the smoke lined up to where you want. I want a thicker part of the smoke to create the mask on, just to hide the mask a little better. And then just go to the color page. In the color page, it's super easy. All we're gonna do is select the pen tool and start drawing a mask. Make it however you want. I'm making mine kind of diagonal, so it's not just a straight line. And then add a little backspace behind it and close the loop. And then looking at the node on the right there, you can play with these two settings to get the right alpha output that you want. In this case, we want the mask. It just looks reverse because we reversed the clip earlier. Then head into the tracking icon section. Only have the pan tracking, and then you can select that icon to start tracking. Then you can select the alpha output to the alpha input on the node there. What I'm also going to do is change the color to green, just to make the smoke green. All of this is going to make it look more like the original Breaking Bad intro. You can play with it however you want, or copy my settings like I've said many times now. Do whatever you want. Editing is fun, and I think everyone should edit however they want to edit. You can just use my videos as a reference. So if you do end up making anything, let me know. I want to see it. Anyways, sorry about that rant. Once you have your mask working, it should track left and right as the clip goes on. And we can go back to the edit, and there you can see our mask. So we're just going to change it from screen back to normal. So you can see it's going to hide everything and not show what's underneath. And then what I'm also going to do is go back to color. And I forgot to change the color of this clip. Actually, I changed the one of the other one. So just change it to a greenish yellow. I'm going to do something like this. It looks like the original. And I'm also going to bring the mask upwards just to extend it so it doesn't kind of leave that top exposed like you can see here. So just grab the little circle that you made and drag it up. That's all you have to do. And then so you can change the color of your other adjustment layer. It's not going to show, but just go ahead and change the color anyways. Don't do the fusion composition clip, you want the smoke clip, if that makes sense. Sorry guys, I'm not the best explainer. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, even though I'm not the best explainer. And you can see all of our pieces come together, but our mask is still a little exposed there. So all you have to do to fix this is go back to the color page, if I can find it here, and then we're just going to change the softness of the mask by clicking on the mask icon here and just crank that softness up. And what that is going to do is create less of an edge and more of a soft kind of transition, as you can see here. That's a bit too soft though. So we're going to just crank that down a bit, and that looks pretty good, something like that. So let's go back to the edit page and check this out once and for all. Everything looks good. Smoke comes in and it takes it out. Nice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something from it. I'm going to show you how it looks. This is the second one I made. It's based off the original, which is at the start. I made 2 different versions just for this video. This one looks pretty good. I think the original one I made looks better. You guys can decide, but if you guys make this, I want to see what it looks like. Send me it, link it to me. Drop a like if you like this video, and check out this other video for more. Thanks.